The snow hit the broken ranch like a final warning, drifting across sagging fences and a barn roof that had already begun to cave in, as a lone man stood waiting at the end of a frozen dirt road with hope he could barely afford to feel anymore. The letter in his pocket had promised a Christmas miracle. But miracles had avoided this land for years, and as the wind cut through his worn coat, he wondered if trusting a stranger to save what his hands could not was the last mistake of his life. Before the story pulls you deeper into this winter-bound fate, take a second and tell me something. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and quiet miracles that arrive when all seems lost, please like this video, share it with someone who loves emotional stories. Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel Wild West Tale. Your support keeps stories like this alive. The ranch had once been a place of laughter and wide summer skies, but those memories belonged to another lifetime. Years of drought had cracked the soil, debt had crept in like rot, and loneliness had settled so deeply into the bones of the land that even the animals seemed to move with caution. The man who owned it had inherited more than land. He had inherited promises he could no longer keep. Each morning began with repairs that never truly fixed anything, and each night ended with the same question, echoing in the dark house, about how much longer he could hold on. Pride had kept him silent for too long, but desperation had finally pushed him to place. An ad he never thought he would write, asking for a mail-order bride who might want a quiet life in a forgotten place, not knowing if anyone would ever answer. When her letter arrived, it felt unreal. The handwriting was careful, almost gentle, and her words spoke of wanting a fresh start and a place where effort still mattered. She did not promise love, and she did not ask for comfort. She only said she believed hard work and patience could heal many wounds. He read the letter until the paper softened at the folds, unable to decide whether hope was crueler than loneliness. Agreeing to meet her at Christmas felt symbolic, as if the season itself might carry forgiveness with it. The day she arrived, the sky was heavy with snow, and the ranch looked smaller than it ever had. The wagon that brought her down the road seemed almost swallowed by the white fields. She stepped down carefully, her coat too thin for the cold, her eyes taking in the broken fences, the leaning barn, and the man standing there unsure of how to greet a stranger who had agreed to share his life. There was no dramatic embrace, no rush of certainty. There was only silence, breath fogging in the air, and the fragile sense that both of them were standing at the edge of something that could either save them or break them completely. She moved into the house with quiet respect, never commenting on the peeling paint or the way the floors creaked under every step. She worked alongside him without complaint, rising early, learning the rhythms of the ranch, and doing the small tasks that often went unnoticed. Still, the problems did not disappear. The cattle were thin, the equipment outdated, and the bank letters continued to arrive with cold, impersonal warnings. At night, the house felt too large for two people who barely knew each other, and the weight of unspoken fear pressed down on them both. What he did not know was that she carried a past she rarely spoke about, a skill she had learned long before answering his ad. In her former life, survival had depended on seeing value where others saw nothing, on restoring what had been abandoned. She had learned how to heal land slowly, how to listen to soil, weather, and animals in ways that books never taught. She had also learned how easily people dismissed quiet knowledge. And so she kept it to herself at first, watching, waiting, understanding that trust had to be earned here just as it had elsewhere. As winter deepened, the ranch reached a breaking point. A storm tore through the property, collapsing part of the barn and scattering the already fragile herd. The loss felt unbearable, and the man finally allowed himself to believe that the ranch was finished. That night he sat alone with his failure, convinced that inviting her into this ruin had been unforgivable. But when morning came, she was already outside, organizing repairs, calming the animals, and making plans that went beyond patching what was broken. It was then, in the raw aftermath of disaster, that her hidden gift began to reveal itself. She showed him methods of conserving heat in the barn, techniques for strengthening structures using materials already on the land, and ways to rotate grazing that would allow the fields to recover. None of it was flashy. None of it was quick. But it was rooted in patience and understanding rather than desperation. Slowly, the ranch began to respond. The animals grew stronger. The soil held moisture longer. Even the air seemed to shift, as if the land itself recognized care when it finally received it. Their relationship changed as well, not through sudden romance, but through shared effort and quiet victories. Trust formed in the spaces between exhaustion and accomplishment. In meals eaten without words because none were needed, Christmas morning arrived without gifts or decorations. But there was warmth in the house for the first time in years, and that felt like enough. The ranch was still struggling, but it was no longer dying, and that difference mattered more than either of them had expected. As spring approached, the results of her knowledge became impossible to ignore. Neighbors who had once shaken their heads at the failing ranch began to take notice. Some offered help, others offered advice. A few even admitted they had underestimated what could be done with land. Everyone else had written off. Through it all, she remained steady, never seeking credit, only asking that the ranch be given time to heal properly. And he, once burdened by pride and fear, learned to accept support without shame, realizing that strength did not mean carrying everything alone. The ranch did not transform overnight, but its recovery felt miraculous precisely because it was earned. Each repaired fence, each healthy calf, each field showing signs of life, became a testament to what patience and belief could accomplish. The man who once stood waiting in the snow now found himself planning for the future, not with anxiety but with cautious hope. And the woman who arrived as a stranger found herself rooted in a place that finally felt like home, her secret gift no longer hidden, but woven into the land itself. If this story has started to stir something in you, if you feel that quiet pull of hope growing stronger with each step forward, take a moment near the end of this journey to like the video, share it with someone who needs a reminder that broken things can still be saved, and subscribe to Wild West Tale. Your engagement helps keep these heartfelt stories coming. As the years passed, the ranch became a symbol of resilience, not just for them, but for everyone who witnessed its transformation. The land still bore scars and life was never perfect, but it was real, honest, and full of meaning. They had both arrived at the ranch carrying invisible wounds, and together, they had learned that healing often comes from working quietly, loving patiently, and believing even when proof is slow to appear. Before this story closes, I have one special request. Please comment below with a word or phrase that represents hope or second chances to you. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. In the end, the greatest gift she brought to the broken ranch was not just knowledge or skill, but the reminder that nothing truly worth saving is ever beyond repair. And as snow fell gently once more on a land no longer forgotten, it was clear that this Christmas miracle was not about rescue, but about renewal, the kind that begins when two broken paths meet and choose to walk forward together.